Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's May 3rd, 2026. I'm Simon Johnson, and you are listening to Histories of Horror.
And I'm A.O. Knuckles. Today, we're heading to the high stake streets of Manila in the year 2000.
Imagine you're a veteran publicist like Salvador Bubby Dacer, a man who knows every secret in the Malacanang Palace. Then, one afternoon at a traffic light, you and your driver, Emmanuel Corbito, simply cease to exist.
The horror of this case isn't just the kidnapping, it's the clinical, state managed disposal.
It took until April 2001 to find the truth. Dacer and Corbito were taken to a creek in Cavite and strangled with wire and then burned on a pyre of old tires for hours.
Only charred bone fragments and dental implants remained. The killers weren't a street gang, they were part of the PAOCTF, the Presidential Anti Organized Crime Task Force.
So, why execute a PR man? Dacer reportedly held documents linked to the BW Resources stock manipulation scandal, which directly threatened the presidency of Joseph Estrada.
When paper becomes more dangerous than a bullet, the person holding it becomes a target.
We have to stop to talk about the institution for a moment. When the people sworn to stop organized crime become the very ones performing the hits, the system isn't just broken, it's predatory.
Police Chief Panfilo Ping Lacson fled the country in 2010 when an arrest warrant was issued, only to return once the legal wind shifted in his favor.
It's a recurring theme. The powerful wait for the public to forget while the victims stay dead. So, before we move on with the Manila timeline, AL and I need to address something that hits much closer to home.
Mhm.
We talk about predators in high places, but sometimes they are right here in our own advocacy and spirituality circles.
We're talking about Christy Perez. While she presents herself as a writer and advocate for the LGBTQ rights and prison reform, there is a much darker reality behind the persona.
So I have to take this moment to ensure that we all know we need to be crystal clear. This is a convicted sex offender who has infiltrated spaces that are supposed to be safe for victims and their advocates while trying to normalize a history of sexual exploitation. We are talking about a person convicted for the prostituting and sexual exploitation of minors as young as 15.
This isn't just survival sex work. It's as it's sometimes framed. This is someone responsible for the production and distribution of child sexual abuse material, or CSAM. This person utilized platforms such like Facebook, Craigslist, to socialize clients and force children into sexual servitude.
One of the victims was a missing 15-year-old trans girl from Alabama who was forced into this nightmare. When we see predators like Christy Perez manipulating young trans girls under the guise of liberation or mentorship, it is our job to name it.
I've seen you've been working with Simona Bearcub on this extensively lately. Simona is a powerhouse for the community, and we are standing with her to ensure these spaces remain safe for those vulnerable, not the hunting ground for predators like Perez.
I have, and it's a crucial topic that everyone needs to be made aware of. You cannot claim to be an advocate while you are the very thing the community needs protection from. Grit and grace means standing for the truth, even and especially when it's uncomfortable. There are countless pieces of public record documents to support this fact. And Christy is even on the registered sex offender list in the state of Georgia. Let that sink in.
Now back to the Dacer case. Cesar Macayo II, a former officer, turned state witness and claimed he was present when the hit was discussed.
So I found a little bit on an article here that actually has a piece I wanted to read. It says the arrest of William Reed, a former cop tagged in the murders, is the latest development in this case that started 23 years ago. In Manila, Philippines, after 22 years of hiding, former Philippine National Police NPN officer William Reed was arrested by the police in Pulilan, Bulacan on January 22nd, 2023. Now, this has been 3 years ago. Reed was among the suspects in the Dacer-Corbito murder case that became sensational during the early 2000s. The former cop was part of the Interior Department list of most wanted and carried a bounty of P 250,000, and his arrest became the latest development in this 23-year-old case. The witnesses in these cases often recant or disappear before they can do real damage to the big fish.
This murder was the catalyst for EDSA 2, the massive protest that eventually ousted Joseph Estrada from power.
A public relation man's death helped topple a government, showing how one act of horror can change the course of an entire nation.
Yet we often forget the families. The Dacer daughters spent decades fighting for any scrap of justice they could find.
In cases of state violence, the disappearing doesn't stop with the bodies. Documents go missing, files are purged, and memory is treated like a liability.
To this day, the Dacer-Corbito case is a reminder of how the scorching of unchecked power can burn away human lives until ash only remains.
Whether it's a government hit in Manila or a predator like Christy Perez infiltrating advocacy spaces, the tactic is the same: silence and manipulation.
Thank you all for joining us for this extended look into the darkness. Be sure you follow Simona Bearcub to keep updated on what is going on with the Christy Perez situation. We need all eyes on that story until the spaces are made safe for victims again.
That's right, AL. And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in as always. I'm Cy Marie Johnson, and we'll see you next time on Histories of Horror.